now, like I said, we'll cover on the three days agenda for this one. So what will be your agenda for day one? Just so that everyone is aware of what they are signing up for, how the things will progress. Then agenda for day two and agenda for day three. Okay. So day one is today. Uh, Now today what we are going to do is we will cover some of the basics of business analyst. Okay. So like I'll give you a training overview. What are we going to achieve out of this training? What will be the duration of this course? Okay. Who all are eligible to enroll into the course? What can you expect out of the course? The assignments, case studies. So we will go through all of that at a very high level so that you guys get familiar with the content of the topic that will be presented to you in the subsequent classes. So the day one will be predominantly about covering the basics of business analyst training program. Okay, what will be covered, what to expect out of this training program. Then day two, which will be tomorrow. So tomorrow we will start with who is a business analyst in detail. Okay, so today we'll be covering at a very high level, but tomorrow we'll start deep diving into this topic. So who is a business analyst? What a business analyst does on a day-to-day basis. So suppose if you start your journey as a business analyst, so what a business analyst will do on a day-to-day basis. So you must be familiar with your day-to-day job profile as well. Then the next question would be, or the next logical part will be, what skills are needed? Okay, and how do we develop those skills? So obviously, when you work as a developer, tester, or from a non-IT background, you definitely would require certain skills to be a good BA or to be successful in your career as a BA. So what will be those skills that are needed? Okay, then on day three we will start with how this role of BA was created in IT industry. Okay, so it is nice to have a brief background that once we understand who is a business analyst or what a business analyst will do through a day two, on day three we will go through how the role of a BA was created in first place in IT. Then we will also check how the role of BA has evolved over time. Okay, so naturally, when it first started, there were certain expectations, and then over time, the expectations grew. And what is the expectation in the current world scenario? So, for example, so we started with waterfall, one of the popular methodologies, and then we gradually moved on to agile world. So naturally, when you move from one framework to another framework, the role of BA changes slightly as well. Okay, and the last thing will be uh, in general with respect to IT industry. This is with respect to IT industry. How a BA, what are the responsibilities? What are the roles and responsibilities? Roles and responsibilities for BA. And then we'll have, as and when we progress through the class, we'll discuss on the subsequent agendas as well. But for today, we'll get started with this. So on our day one, welcome everyone, and let's get started with what this training program is so that you guys get comfortable. And if you guys have any question at any point of time, just allow me to finish explaining a topic. Suppose if I am in the middle of a topic, so just allow me to finish up the topic and then put up your questions. So that brings me to the rules for the training program. Rules, or you can say the conduct during the training program. Okay. So first is ask questions. but allow me to complete a topic, and then you ask your questions relevant to the topic. Okay, suppose in case if you are asking questions that may be covered in a future topic, then you may get a response from me like, when we go through that topic, we will cover your question as well. So when you hear from me that we will cover this in a future topic, then do write it down. Okay. Usually what happens is you ask question, but we don't write it down so that we don't forget it later. Okay. It will be good to have, a list of FAQs for your own reference as well. So ask questions, but after a given topic. Okay. Now, at the same time, I'll be taking pauses at regular intervals just to let you know if you guys are following along with me. So, if you have any questions, you can ask during that time as well. Now, every day, how we will start our training is the first 5 to 10 minutes will be recap of previous session. Okay, so this is since this is our first session, so there won't be any recap, but I'm just laying down rules as such. But subsequent sessions, that is starting from tomorrow, we will be discussing on first 5 to 10 minutes. We'll be doing a quick recap of previous session, what we covered in previous session. If you guys have any questions around previous session, and then 11th minute onwards we will move on to the current day's topic. Okay, now if you have any questions with respect to assignments, so there will be assignments and case studies shared with you. Okay, so that you guys can go back to your homework. Now if you guys have any questions with respect to assignments and case studies as well, you can ask those questions also before the start of the session. Okay, uh, but it is expected that if you guys have been given an assignment, then you guys should complete the assignment before getting into the class. Okay, we may have to put in some extra effort. Some of you guys may have a full-time job already. Some of you guys may not have a full-time job, but please ensure that in any case you put in some extra effort to complete your assignment. The idea behind assignments is so that you guys get familiar with the working of a BA in IT industry. Okay, it's not going to be a theoretical session alone, but when we go through these assignments, it will make our sessions more interactive. So that brings me to the fourth part, that is being interactive. So if I ask a question, I don't want to put anyone's name as such, but it will be nice if you guys can present your thoughts also. So the more you present your thoughts, it will be better for us to have a conversation rather than having a monologue. It is always better to have a dialogue. Okay, and then towards the when we are done with a certain portion of the training, we will also help you guys with any of the case studies that you guys are currently working on. And also, if you guys need any help with respect to your resume preparation, like what needs to be mentioned. So, I would request you guys to be patient until a certain portion or until the half of the course is complete. There's no point in preparing your resume now itself when you are going through the course. So far, any questions, guys? If you guys are not able to hear me, if you see any voice issues, if you think you are not able to communicate me, or if you are a little bit hesitant, feel free to ping in the chat box as well. But so far, any questions? All good? Well, I'll take that silence as all good and no questions so far. So let's get started with the training. Okay, so this is the training program that you guys are willing to take along with me for next 3 weeks to 4 weeks duration. Now, what are we going to talk today? So we'll start with know your trainer. That's me. So you guys should be confident that someone with who is going to teach you has the required knowledge or not. Then what are the prerequisites? So who all we usually have questions that I am from non-IT, can I sign up for this course? What is the prerequisites? How do we get started? So we'll go through that. Then some of the myths around business analyst. And what will be the course? What will be the content of the course that will be covered? Now, once we go through the course content, we will go through the roadmap. How are we going to cover that content and in what duration? Okay. What all preparation is needed for this course? What are the tools that we are going to learn throughout the course? And what is the outcome of this training? Okay. So that's the critical part, that whenever we go through a training, what are we going to learn out of that training? How are we going to apply whatever we learned in one training day to day professional life? Okay, so hi guys, I'm Rahul Kumar Dubey. I have approximately 13 years of experience in IT industry. I started my career with Accenture. We started with waterfall model, and then now gradually moved on to the world of agile for software development. So I have predominantly worked in the software development area where we were trying to build new features or products, but I have some experience on the product maintenance side as well. So don't worry about these terms. Uh, I'm there to cover all the basics for you and then gradually move on to some of the advanced topics. Now, I also did some of the certifications around Scrum and technical architecture, uh, just to aid my knowledge on how the technology works and how the system behaves. Now, what are the prerequisites for our training? Okay, so number one is anyone who has a bachelor's or a master's degree can enroll for the program. Okay, suppose you are a software programmer, you are a hardcore coder or a developer, and then you want to now switch your career from a software development to now a business analyst. You can also enroll for it. If you are a business development or sales executive, that means you are basically working in a non-IT field or customer service representative. So if you are from non-IT field as well, you can switch from non-IT to business analyst as well. So this course is designed to start you with the basics, to consider that as if you guys need to start from the scratch completely. So this course doesn't take into consideration that you have certain knowledge and then only you should enroll. No, this will start you with the basics. QA team, quality assurance. So similar to software programmers, we have QA, quality assurance team, or testing team. If you guys want to move away from your QA role to BA and want to understand how the BA works, IT or help desk support executives or SMEs in IT, KPO or BPO. So basically, if you see, be it from any domain, because this course is designed to start from the basics, it will help you start your business analyst journey. Now I'll take a pause here, see if there are any questions. If you can either type in your questions or unmute yourself and ask any questions. You all had your breakfast today or waiting for your breakfast, and that's why trying to be a little more silent. Am I not audible?
Sir, don't have any question now.
Okay, so is coding there in BA? No, coding is not there. Usually, a BA is a non-technical role, so we don't expect BAs. No one will expect BAs to code, but uh, as we go along the course, we will help you guys with the basics of SQL. So nowadays, a lot of expectation from BA is to do a little bit of data check, data validation, okay, or make some sense out of the data. So if you know SQL, you can do something around it, but that will be like 15 to 20% of your job. Your still 80 to 85% of your job will be around your role as BA, which is core non-technical role. Placements will be provided, right? I'll give you a contact number. Usually, Harsha Training's business analyst uh, contact number for your one-stop solution. So for all these questions with respect to placements, getting access to labs, you can reach out to that number. Now let's continue. So yeah, what are some of the myths or assumptions when it comes to business analyst profile? So like we discussed just now, one of the common assumption is that you need some type of technical background to start your career as business analyst. No, that's not the case. Even if you don't know coding or you don't come up with a technical background, it's okay to start your career as business analyst. So as we will cover in subsequent topics in coming days, we will go through a list of skills that are needed. Okay, so what mainly or majorly is needed is you should have good learning skills, because as business analysts, since you guys will be performing lot of analysis around a business model, so you should have good learning skills to learn about any business, whether you are working in banking or sorry, whether you create a software for a banking industry, for healthcare industry, for life insurance sector, for whichever sector you are going to create a product for, you should have a good understanding about that industry. Since you may be moving from one industry to another industry, so as a business analyst, you may not need a solid technical background, but yeah, you should have good learning skills to learn about the industry in which you are operating. Okay, so that brings me to the second part. That is the only difficulty with respect to your that's the only difficulty when you start your career as BA, that you need to keep learning. But then, be it any job, you always have to keep learning. As long as you are part of the evolving industry, you always have to keep learning. Otherwise, what happens is you become obsolete after a certain time. Okay, people no longer consider you as an asset. So there's no technical background needed, but yeah, you will have to do a lot of learning to keep yourself updated with respect to the industry in which you work in. If you are in banking, you need to know how a bank operates, how a bank opens a savings account or a current account, how a bank distributes loan, whichever department you are working in. You need to know the business functionality, okay, and not the technical functionality. How a system works technically to open a savings account is up to the architect and the development team, not BA. BA will have to know the functionality, that if my age is more than 18 years, if I have a valid ID proof, and if I visit a bank and bank says that you need to deposit 10,000 to open your bank account, then I should be able to open it. That is all a business analyst cares about, whether my business functionality is being fulfilled? If yes, then my account should get created. Whereas how to validate the age of a customer, validate the ID proof of the customer through systematic processes, that is the responsibility of architect and development team. Now, I am a fresher. Can I still start my career as BA? Okay, so yes, you can. And in addition to this point, I'll also mention that not just freshers, suppose if you are trying to switch careers, whether from IT you want to switch from software development to business analyst, or whether from non-IT with some experience into now IT domain. So you can consider yourself starting with business analyst course. Now, a lot of time you may hear terms, and we will cover it going forward as well, that we have subject matter experts, SMEs. So when we have SMEs, we don't need business analysts. Usually, SMEs are the experts in a particular subject, in a particular area. They help you decide on how the business strategies should be created, but not on how business to IT work should be bridged upon. So we definitely need business analysts even when you have SMEs in your area as well. Now let's cover the course content. Okay, so let me show you guys what will be covered in as part of this training. Okay, so this entire training program is divided into you can say three sections. The first one is business analyst introduction. Okay, that is our agenda for day 2 and day 3. Okay, so covering who is a business analyst, what business analyst will do on day to day basis, and what skills are needed, role of BA, how role of BA has evolved in IT industry. Now, once we cover our basics with business analyst introduction, then we move on to software development life cycle. So we majorly have two software development life cycles, one with respect to waterfall method and one with respect to agile. Within agile, we will be focusing specifically on Scrum. Okay. So when you get into a company that still works on waterfall, then you must know what is expected out of USPA. Or when you move on to a company that works on agile or Scrum, then you must know what is expected out of you. So that will be your second part. That is actual hands-on part where you will be getting to know what you have to do on a day-to-day basis in waterfall versus agile. Then the last will be case study. So why case study is mentioned separately is because whatever topics we cover, the entire course will get covered in your case study. So there will be a case study provided. So you guys will have to use all your knowledge that we have gathered on section 1 and 2 and finish up your case study on section 3. Now remember that section 2 will in itself will have assignments. So as and when we cover a topic, we will give you an assignment to go back and assess what you learned today and try to complete your assignment. Now if we get into more details, then these are the topics that will be covered as part of business analyst introduction, like overview and origin, what is a business analyst, who is a business analyst, what are the different IT companies we have, what's the organization structure within those IT companies. That is, these topics are specifically for people from non-IT background. Okay, so that they understand how the IT companies work, like what models do they operate in, what's the organization structure, so that when you start your job right from day one, you at least have a fair understanding of the model, the business model. Then what will be the roles and responsibilities of a BA, and what you should do versus what you should not do as BA. Then we move on to waterfall methodology, our next section. There we will identify who are the stakeholders that we are going to interact with on a day-to-day basis. How do we manage our stakeholders? What is RACI matrix? How do we define roles and responsibilities for every stakeholder that we are going to interact with? What are the different types of requirements that we are going to write in? How does a BA explain or elaborate the requirements? Okay. What are the different elicitation or elaboration techniques that we are going to use in? Then what are the different types of documentation that a BA will be creating? Suppose business requirement document, functional requirement document, software requirement document, use case document. So these are the major crux of it. So whatever you learn about the business, whatever you learn about your interactions with stakeholders, you will be documenting those interactions and knowledge in these documents, and these documents will then be passed on to your uh, coding team so that they can create a software as per these documents. Okay, the next we move on to agile. So we will have introduction to agile, not in-depth introduction, but just for your understanding what agile is and how it differentiates from the waterfall model. What are the different frameworks? Scrum, specifically we'll be discussing about scrum. Then what is the difference between waterfall and scrum? So these could be your interview questions. And what are the different events that happen within scrum? How do you create epics, user stories? How do you prioritize a story, and how do you estimate your story? So within story point estimation, we'll be discussing what are these planning, poker, and t-shirt sizing methods. Then last will be your case study. Okay, so at the end of it, you will be given a case study, and you will be asked to implement this case study in Scrum and implement the same case study in Waterfall as well, so that we can review your case study, or if you have any questions, we can go through that as well. Now with that, I'll take a pause here, see if there are any questions so far with respect to course content or what topics will be covered. Can non-IT experience considered for BA? So non-IT experience, it depends on which field you have. Suppose you have worked in a banking domain, and now you are trying to apply for an IT company which is creating software for banking domain. Okay, so because you already have banking knowledge, you can still count yourself as business knowledge. So the idea is, as long as you move into the same domain. Okay, suppose you worked in GIS mapping domain like you think, but you are trying to switch to an IT company that works into the healthcare domain. So how are you going to, because one, business analyst is completely new to you, plus the domain is also new to you. So how are you going to justify that you are already working as business analyst? Okay, but then don't worry. This is why we have this course. So this course will cover all your basics and then gradually take you to an intermediate level, so that even with your previous experience, you can mention like 1, 2, and approximately 3 years of business analyst role. You will understand what business analyst does. So you will be able to justify yourself. If anyone asks any questions with respect to your previous experience, you'll be able to convey it appropriately that you already have worked as some type of business analyst with approximately 1.5 to 3 years of experience. Any questions? Any more questions, guys? I can share the Babok guide with you. But trust me, guys, that's plenty of documentation. Because when I was preparing for my business analyst certifications, it's a huge document. It's like a book in itself. And if you just keep reading through it, at some point you will get bored also. So I can share it for your reference. And like I said, at the end of the session, I'll share you the number uh, where you can, reach out to for any type of material, content, and we'll share it with you.
Hello.
Now let's
Hello.
move on to the next topic, that is timelines for the training. Okay. So right now we are in week one. This is our week one that has started, and we have started with a general introduction. So in this week, we will try to cover the first part, that is who is a business analyst, what a business analyst does, roles and responsibility, do's and don'ts for business analysts, that type of stuff. Then on week two, will start with the waterfall framework, and in that, how do we do stakeholder analysis, requirement analysis, what are the different documents that you are going to create with respect to stakeholders. And we will take that topic forward in week three with respect to BRD, FRD, business requirement document, functional requirement document, software requirement documents, or software requirement specifications. Okay. Then week four will be about our agile and scrum things. And week five, the first few days, we will cover about the basic tools, like how are we going to learn about the SQL and stuff. And it will also be about your case study then. So the entire program is supposed to be covered within 5 weeks. Okay, so these are the tools that we are going to learn as we progress. So Jira is one of the most famous, popular agile lifecycle management tool. So when we start our topic on week four with agile, so if you see here, we mentioned that will also be teaching you Jira, how this looks like, and how do you create stories in it. Then we have Visio tool that is mainly used for creating flowcharts. Okay, so as as a business analyst, what all the documents that you prepare, if you see, this is a kind of flowchart that's out there. Okay, if I just simply write down something and then try to read it out, it makes it really boring. Okay, people will, instead of listening to you, they'll be mainly interested in what you have written. So instead of that, we try to make our documents much more interactive through the creation of these flowcharts. Okay. Then last one will be MS Office. For some of the people, whether you are from IT or non-IT, but if you have not used your MS Office, that is your Word, PowerPoint extensively, then this will be an opportunity for you. Okay. Then what is the outcome of the training? Let's say you stuck with us for entire 5 weeks. So what can you expect out of this 5 week program? Okay, so these are the things that will be the outcome of this training program that you are going to learn at the end of this training. So one is, what's the role of a BA, business analyst, and how business analyst is important in terms of developing a software or a product. Okay. Then how can you plan your day-to-day activities? How do you elaborate or elicit requirements from stakeholders? How do you analyze the requirements? Okay, sometimes your stakeholders will give you requirements which doesn't make sense. So how do you analyze the requirements and ensure that you capture what can be done? How do you document these requirements? Okay, how do you validate the requirements? Then how do you manage these requirements or communicate Okay. Then we'll go through use case diagram, how to review these documents, how to verify the solutions. Okay, because you as a business analyst, when you present your requirement, you need to review the solutions as well. What are the different skills or competencies required to be a good BA? Okay. Then what are the different methodologies for software development, waterfall and agile, and how you perform or how do you conduct yourself in waterfall or agile. Okay, then identify business analysis concepts. Then we'll also go through vision and scope documents that will be covered as part of your business requirement document creation. Then how do you plan for a project? So before a project starts, we need to create a plan as well. Most of the time, it will not be a business analyst responsibility to create a plan, but a business analyst must understand what is the plan. How are we going to create the software? So that a business analyst can communicate that with to the customer. Okay, and then the last is how to conduct an interview. Don't think that this is your job interview. So we have certain elicitation techniques, that is requirement elaboration technique. So for example, a customer can tell you, go and create a payment gateway for my e-commerce application. Okay. Now creating a payment gateway for e-commerce application doesn't give us much information. So we will go through some of these elicitation techniques, predominantly interview techniques that is majorly used. Okay. So you will interview your customer that, okay, I can add a payment gateway, but what are the different payment methods that you want to have? Credit card, debit card, net banking, UPI. Okay. Now in that, what is the limit that you want to have? That what is the maximum price or cash on delivery? How do you want to handle when the payment is successful versus when the payment fails? If the payment fails, should we still place the order? Those type of things. So you will have an interview with your customer to probe them, to ask them questions, and then accordingly you will, once you get answers, you will keep writing or updating your requirement document. Now at the end, like I said, so week 5 will be about your case study preparation. So preparation will have two parts. One is your case study and the other is mock interviews or resume preparation. Okay, so for all of you who stick with us for the entire 5 weeks course, so we'll go through the case study, we'll review your case study also, and once your case study has been reviewed, we'll help you plan for the mock interviews as well, like what type of questions can be asked, how do you respond to those questions. Okay, so with that, do you have any questions so far
So, do you
related
have
to what we
any?
covered?
Hello.
Okay, so I just want to cover this final slide. The outcome. Okay, yeah. So guys, just save this number. Okay, 8074713224. Okay. Now, as and when you attend classes, just send a note to this message on just send a note to this number through WhatsApp. Okay. Just send a WhatsApp message that you attended demo. The reason for that is uh, we want to collect the information of people who have attended so that if there are any changes to the timings of the class or regarding availability of the recordings or sharing the study material or case study or reviewing the assignments, so that can be communicated with the appropriate set of people. Okay, so it would be really useful if you can drop a message to this mobile number on WhatsApp. Okay, so that will help us track. I'll also ping it in the chat box. So that will help us track who are attending and what type of material needs to be shared with them. Who do we need to plan or prepare for the mock interviews as well, and sharing the study material and recordings also. Do we have any certification in this course? So this course is will prepare you for ECBA certification, that is entry level business analyst certification. But certification is not part of this course. Please arrange evening slots. If you have any such request, like I said, just drop a message to this number, okay, stating that you have attended, and if you have any feedback around it, like change of slots or presentation technique, any kind of feedback as well. Even for any feedback with respect to presentation, you can communicate directly to me also. But for change of slots or arranging for a training in evening, just do ping us on this number. Okay, so this will help us communicate right information like recordings, study materials with the right set of people. Any other questions, guys?
What is the certification cost, Rahul?
So if there aren't any questions, I won't hold you guys for long for today. Okay, we'll start tomorrow at the same time, 9 a.m. Okay, and tomorrow we will start with who is a business analyst. That is week one of our course. Okay, who is a business analyst, what a BA will do, what skills are needed. Okay, so thank you guys for your time. If there aren't any questions, we will meet tomorrow at the same time.
Rahul, am I audible? Hello.
Sorry, Amar, were you trying to ask the question?
Yeah, yeah. Are you going to provide the recordings of all the sessions?
I'm not able to hear you, but if you can type in your question, I can read it and respond to it. Okay, so at this moment, I'll stop sharing. Okay, guys, if no questions, let's meet tomorrow at the same time. Okay, see you guys all tomorrow.